Okay, we're going to take a look at Yahoo Fantasy Auto Racing Week 11, the Darlington Raceway, Saturday night for the Showtime Southern 500. Denny Hamlin picked up the win in the event. We're going to go ahead and take a look a little bit at the race and then talk about the standings and see how things shook out, not only for the race but the overall standings as well. Denny Hamlin, as I mentioned, picked up the victory in the race. Great race, really. There was a lot of twists and turns to the plot throughout the event. Some drivers got taken out in some incidents. Lots of cars were in the wall. Obviously, Darlington, a very difficult racetrack to drive with just two groups pretty much all the way around the racetrack. Saw a lot of cars impact the wall, and saw some drivers that definitely had a shot to win fall by the wayside with that last caution of the event, which seems to be the story almost every week now. Hamlin picked up the victory. Kyle Busch was a threat to win, but after that last pit stop, his setup just completely dropped out from underneath him. He struggled and managed to pick up a top 10, but Jeff Gordon was another guy who definitely had a car that could win the race, led some laps, and after that last pit stop just didn't have the track position needed to take the victory. And Jeff Burton was another guy who led some laps and looked dominant all night. He had a pit road miscue. They ran over the air hose. That's a penalty in NASCAR, so that team had to serve a penalty and had to fight and claw their way back through traffic to get 8th overall by the end of the evening. The big surprise of the night, Jimmy Johnson was taken out in a nasty accident with A.J. Allmendinger. Allmendinger's brakes exploded after a caution came out, and to try to avoid an accident, he spun his car off the racing surface. Well, the car kept going at about the speed he was spinning at anyway, and spun right back into the racing surface and plowed into Johnson's door. Both drivers are okay, but definitely a difficult evening for Jimmy Johnson, who just gets taken out in a wild wreck. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the standings now. It looks like this week's winner, for the second time this season, Hulk Smash is in victory lane. Hulk Smash had a huge week, 344 points, beat second place by 54 points alone. Taking a look at the breakdown there, first off, we just want to mention Hulk Smash now moves into 4th overall in the standings. That was the lone move in the standings this week. Passes the wall, always wins for 4th overall. Looking at the actual standings, Hulk Smash started Danny Hamlin, so starting the winner definitely big, but also got more points from Jamie McMurray. Started McMurray this week. McMurray won the pole. That's 10 bonus points. Added the fact that McMurray was 2nd overall. That's 1-2 finish for Hulk Smash. 208 points just there, and then tack on Kevin Harvick, who got 6th. That's another 90 points. 298 from your first 3 drivers. That was enough to win anyway, and then you just throw in Scott Speed, who picked up 46 points for a 28th place from the C Group. C Group, very interesting this week. The top 3 C drivers were Regan Smith, David Stremme, and Travis Quapple. Those 3 guys were not chosen by any of the teams in the league this year or this week, so Scott Speed was the highest of what everybody chose to start this week, picked up 46 points. So maximized the C Group, as well as had 3 guys in the top 6. A fantastic week for Hulk Smash. As we mentioned, a 54-point victory this week over 2nd place. The Wall always wins. The Wall started McMurray, so got 108 there. Also started Harvick, matched the same group of B drivers as Hulk Smash. The difference was in A and C. The Wall always wins started Mark Martin in Group A, got 60 points there for a 16th place finish. Martin was actually a very good car all night, but hit the wall, struggled with setup from that point on. Also got mixed up in a little bit of pit strategy on the final pit stop as well. So wound up 16th, and then Paul Menard wound up 30th overall. Menard was kind of a disappointment this week. Actually had a decent car, but bounced off the wall a couple times, was just wrong place, wrong time most of the evening. Wound up 30th overall by the end of the evening. Talking about the rest of the top 5, you're looking at Lightning McQueen, 3rd place this week, 260 points, 84 out of 1st. Started Denny Hamlin and also had Jeff Burton in the top 10, but started Dale Earnhardt Jr., who got 18th, kind of a disappointment this week, and A.J. Allmendinger, as I mentioned, was in the nasty wreck with Jimmy Johnson and brought home a 37th place finish as a result, so only 18 points from Allmendinger from Group C puts McQueen in 3rd. 4th place this week with 258 points, 86 out of 1st, and missing 3rd by just 2 points was High, Wide, and Handsome. Handsome had 3 drivers in the top 15, none in the top 5, though. That was probably the difference there. Started Kyle Busch in Group A, got 7th place for Kyle. Jeff Burton and Matt Kenseth in Group B, and then A.J. Allmendinger, the huge disappointment this week with the 37th place wreck. moving to 5th, Team Edwards, the driver, got another top 5. A good run for Team Edwards. Picked up Denny Hamlin. Got 100 points for the win there. And Ryan Newman. Nobody else went with Newman this week, and that was a good move for Team Edwards. Got 9th place out of that team. But Clint Boyer was a huge disappointment for Team Edwards this week. Boyer had mechanical issues and was never in contention. Went up 32nd overall, only 28 points there. And Paul Menard actually edged out Boyer in the actual overall standings. So those two drivers were kind of a disappointment for Team Edwards. Puts that team 5th overall, 109 out of 1st this week. Edged out 6th place Greek Thunder by a single point, and that point was the point picked up for David Rudiman in qualifying. So Team Edwards can thank Rudiman's good qualifying effort for putting that team 5th and putting Greek 6th this week. Greek 234 points, 110 out of 1st. Had Kevin Harvick and Carl Edwards for 2 top 15 drivers, but also had Casey Kane, who had an on-track incident with Martin Truex Jr., had some damage all evening, just really wasn't really a factor all evening, wound up 20th overall. And then Sam Hornish Jr. pounded the wall pretty hard after running fairly well. That seems to be Hornish's MO every week, wound up 31st overall in the standings, only 30 points for Greek Thunder's team. Rounding out the field was Woe, a left turn. Woe was basically bogged down by Jimmy Johnson. Had 2 drivers in the top 20 in Group B, Jeff Burton and Earnhardt Jr., but also had Scott Speed, which was good for the C group. But when you throw in Jimmy Johnson's 36th place finish, anytime your A driver finishes outside the top 25, it's going to be very difficult to win. So only 208 points for Woe. 8th was Oh No, a blowout, 204 points this week. Missed out on 7th by just 4 points, but a rough week for Oh No, a blowout. It's only the 3rd time all year that team's finished outside the top 5 in a race. So definitely still having a great season, but a rough week there. Jimmy Johnson was started in Group A, as we discussed. Not a good pick this week. Jeff Burton was 8th. Matt Kenseth was 13th. So decent picks from Group B, and then Paul Menard. Just the wrong mix of drivers for Oh No, a blowout this week. And then last in the standings this week, a very difficult week for Kane Rules. 0 points this week. 0 points. Didn't make any lineup changes. Out of starts for all 4 drivers. That's no points. Gave up 344 to the leader just this week alone. So that team definitely in a hole now. Going to have to battle back, make some changes, and get really active if that team wants to dig out of 9th place. Taking a look at the overall standings, we'll switch over to that. High, Wide, and Handsome holds on to the lead. Another top 5 this year, or another top 5 added to the pile this year. Now holds a 165-point lead over Oh No, a blowout. And then not too far back to 3rd place Lightning McQueen, who leads a pack of 3 teams there that's fighting for 3rd in a real dogfight. It's 209 out of 1st for McQueen, 214 out of 1st for Hulk Smash, and 5th place right now, The Wall Always Wins, who's only 227 out of 1st. So 18 points separate those 3 teams. That's definitely a dogfight worth watching as we progress down through the season. Team Edwards, the drivers, sitting 6th right now, 365 out of 1st, so a little over 100 and just under 140 back. 5th place, but also has about 120 point cushion or so back to 7th place Woe. So Edwards is kind of in a limbo spot right now, sitting 6th. Woe is 483 out. Definitely a respectable score considering he didn't start the first week at all. Could be a lot closer to the front had that team been in week 1, but still looking good. And then Greek Thunder is 573 out, 90 points behind Woe for 7th. So a little bit of a cushion there. And then tons of room back to dead last, which Stuart Sucks Kane Rules, which is 904 points out of 1st now. Not setting the lineup has put that team at the bottom, and it may not be something that team can recover from unless drastic changes are made to the management strategy. Looking at next week, just a little bit of a preview. They're going to be heading to Dover. That's the Concrete Mile Racetrack, High Banks, the Autism Speaks 400. They're going back to Sunday for next week, so it's going to be another Sunday morning race. The pool itself locks Friday at 2 a.m. Qualifying is held on Friday, and the starters for the race are going to lock Sunday at 10:15 a.m. So definitely looking forward to that race. Should be great. Definitely want to pay attention to how the leader does this week and how that dogfight for 3rd shakes out. So we'll see everybody next Sunday night for the next recap.